Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles, and I welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And this is an interesting topic for me today that I really want to touch on. And the topic is revealing the biggest mistake Steven Jackson made. So that's the topic I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also, make sure you go ahead and check out Dreamerspro Max, an online sports community place where you can go and start talk about basketball, chat live during games, and so many other cool things. So if you guys are interested in that, be sure to check that out. We have that linked in the description below. And also make sure you go ahead and click the join button to join the channel to receive loyalty badges from us. So anyway, this is a very, very interesting topic for me, and it's something I've been mulling over for some time now. And I said, hey, why not talk about it today? And let me just quickly say this. As you can see, I'm in a t-shirt today. Why am I in a t-shirt? Because again, it was supposed to be another off day for me, but I went to the store, got inspired, started working on some topics while I was walking around the store. And then I said, okay, what the heck? Let's shoot this video today and let's see how it does. So once you get inspired, you gotta let it flow. So this is a topic I want to talk about. So we all know who Steven Jackson is. Former NBA player, played with the San Antonio Spurs, played with the Golden State Warriors. He won a championship, I believe, with the San Antonio Spurs. He was known to be a very gritty player, but he was very talented. He was a great shooter during his playing career. He did bump heads at one point with Greg Popovich, something he spoke about already in the past, because there was a kind of a back and forth between Greg Popovich being very loyal to Manu Ginobili, and he wanted Steven Jackson to basically admit that Manu Ginobili was better than him, and Steven Jackson said, no way, Jose, I'm not going to do that. I don't believe that this guy is better than me, and that's how he felt. So Steven Jackson has always been known to be a very gritty player. He says what he believes. That just seems to be the way he operates. And he's also known for being a very loyal teammate in the NBA. Right? Every player that he's played with always says the Jack, as they call him, Jack or Stat, is somebody that always ride for them, that always has their back. Obviously, we remember that incident with the Palace and the Malice in the Palace. Nobody threw nothing at Steven Jackson, but he went up there to go defend his teammate. He was like, if y'all going at him, y'all going at me. And to be quite honest with you, I think all of us would wish that we have friends like that. When we're faced with a difficult situation, they would have our back. So this was something that he was respected for, right? And some players, especially in sports, cherish teammates that do that. Now, after his retirement, you would see him make appearances on networks like ESPN and FS1, Fox Sports 1, right? And I saw him on some episodes of Speak for Yourself. I saw him on some episodes of Undisputed, and I've seen him on different shows on ESPN back in the day when he used to appear there. But obviously he didn't appear there anymore. Since his appearances on these different shows, him and Matt Barr, a good friend of his, similar player to Steven Jackson, a player that I think Kobe Bryant liked, and all of these different things, right? Very loyal guy that would ride with his teammates, tough guy, gritty guy, good defensive player. They had a show together because I think these guys were friends and they were friendly with each other. So they ended up getting a show together called All the Smoke, right? All the Smoke podcast, which is on Showtime, which I think is operated by Showtime or whatever it is, right? And they were doing their thing. They were having interviews and all of these different things. And by the way, this video has nothing to do with Kwame Brown. I'm coming at it from a different angle. I'm not talking about Kwame Brown in this video. Then what happened? Then Steven Jackson's friend by the name of George Floyd was murdered by a police officer. We all remember the story, or we all remember that graphic video where he was kneeling on his neck and he was saying he couldn't breathe, I think for 8 minutes or so. I don't remember the time frame. And the guy was murdered. A murder that the police officer was ultimately convicted for in court. So the justice system said this guy's guilty, period, end of story. And I'm not going to get into the whole, I'm not, as I told you guys, I'm not interested in politics. So please just keep that on the up and up and slide to the left with that, because I'm not interested in that. So once his friend was murdered, before the trial, Steven Jackson became very vocal in speaking out for the injustice he felt his friend's family was put through. And he went from being a basketball commentator or analyst or whatever, or personality, to a political figure, it seemed like overnight. He was there, marching for his friend, and he was one of the major faces behind the whole movement behind that whole George Floyd killing, right? He was one of the prominent faces out there. He was one of the people leading the charge. And, he took a stand for his friend, for his deceased friend. And he was supportive of him, right? And a lot of people got behind Steven Jackson. And I heard him say on different occasions, he said that maybe this is my true calling for being a leader, right? A leader, a social activist, a social leader, right? A role that he seemed to embrace wholeheartedly because he was in the forefront and he got a lot of support around it. But then inevitably things turn for the worse, as they always do, especially in politics. And that is the reason why I say, before you get into politics, you better be ready. If you get into politics and you're not ready, things could get dicey. Because essentially what happened was people stopped looking at Steven Jackson as a former basketball player. Instead, they started looking at him as a political figure, a role that he embraced, a role that he stepped into. And as a result, people felt like he needed to comment on different social issues, right? Because it's like, okay, you're a political voice, so we want to hear your thoughts on this thing, on that thing, on this thing, on that thing, right? Because you've kind of embraced that role, and now that's how people see you. And he gained a lot of he gained a huge following outside the NBA. A lot of people that would not follow the NBA, that did not follow the NBA, that would not know Steven Jackson otherwise, knew about him, because it became a global movement. And essentially what happened was, I think he ended up turning himself into a polarizing figure, but I don't think it was his intention wholeheartely. It might have been, I don't know, but I think that's ultimately what ended up happening. He ended up turning himself into a polarized figure, where everything he said, as it pertains to social issues, but especially social issues, became scrutinized. Every single thing he said. And the saddest part about politics is that you will never please everyone. You can never please everyone. You can never please anyone. Now, obviously, you can never please everyone in life. That's why you see every video you see online, every single video you're going to see on YouTube will have at least one dislike. It doesn't matter what. You could be saving an old lady from a burning building. Somebody out there is going to find a reason to not like it. That's human beings for you. It doesn't matter what it is. That's just human nature. There's always going to be a person that's going to take offense to any and everything. But that becomes even more heightened in politics. Politics is a very polarizing arena. Very polarizing. Very, very polarizing. I would say is the most polarizing thing in the world. I think the thing right up there with it is probably religion. I think it's politics and religion. And when you step into that arena, you better think carefully before you do. You better think carefully. You better. And the last thing anybody should do is let somebody pressure them into doing or saying things that they don't feel comfortable with saying. Do you know why? Because in the end of the day, when things go wrong, you know who's gonna backfire on? You. Not the person that told you to do it. The person that said, I want to hear what you think, they don't get the brunt of they don't get both sides. They just get to sit back and watch. But the person that put themselves in that position, you're the one that gets scrutinized. So number one, my first thought is this. Never let people influence you to do something you don't want to do. I don't care who it is. It can be your parent. I don't care who it is. Don't be a follower. Don't feel like, oh, because this guy, or I feel like I need to. No, you don't. Don't feel like you need to say something. Say something if you truly believe it. Don't say it because you feel like, oh, that's what they want to hear. You know why? Because no matter what you say, someone is going to take exception to it. And you want to know the proof of that? You want to know the proof of it? This video we're producing right now, somebody's not going to like it. I guarantee you, if you watch this video after 20 minutes or 30 minutes of it being published, you're going to see a dislike. Just human nature. So if people cannot like what I'm saying here, imagine what will happen to people that are actually prominent, that are actually out there with voices. So the first thing is never let somebody pressure you into doing something you don't want to do. Number two, when you go into a field, know what the heck you're talking about. That goes for politics, that goes for sports, that goes for design, that goes for cars. We did a Formula One video the other day. Some people were giving hey, this guy's from here, this guy's from there, this is that. People were correcting us. Like, okay, know your facts. All right? Know your facts. People will come at you if you don't know your facts. If you're going to get into politics, of all things, you bloody better know what you're talking about. You better not get into it on a whim, or I felt inspired to get into politics, so I said this. No. It don't work like that. There's so many people that have been caught in their emotions in the heat of the moment. They put out a tweet and all of it, and it creates a firestorm. And now you see people, oh, I didn't mean to say that. I was a spur of the moment. I had to delete. That's what happens. Happens in sports, but in politics, it's at a heightened level. So my two thoughts on this are: number one, never let anybody pressure you into doing something you don't want to do or saying something you don't want to say. That's number one. We're all individuals here. We're not kids. And number two, know what the heck you're talking about. I've had people tell, oh, well, why didn't you say that? I tell people all the time, I'm 34 years old. I'm not a small boy. Number one, I don't adhere to what people, I'm not like that. I think for myself. I have my own brain. I have my own name, and no one is thinking for me. No one in the internet, in the comments, no one thinks for me. I think for myself, as you can think for yourself. I never get influenced by what people tell me to say. Never, and I never will. I'm not a follower. I'm not here to think what you want me to. It doesn't work like that with me. At least I don't feel any type of pressure whatsoever. But that's me. And of course, some people dislike that because they want you to say what they want you to say, forgetting that that's their opinion. And the moment you start imposing your opinion on others, you got a problem. Allow people to have their opinions. Disagree with them, but don't take their right away for them to having their opinions. That's wrong. I don't care who you are. And obviously, again, some people dislike that. So those are my thoughts. And I think that's the mistake he made. Because I don't truly believe Steven Jackson bargained for all of this. I don't think this is what he saw. I could be wrong, but from afar, that's what it looks like. You know why? If you hear a politician get criticized, they take it a little bit better than some people that are not meant to be politicians that get criticized. Political figures, you're going to get criticized all the time. Somebody's going to hate you. Look at the last presidential election. For as many people that loved Trump, there were as many people that hated him. And go back to the Obama, then go back to the one before, and then go back to the one before, and go back to the one, and go back. That's how it is. It's nothing unique. Politicians are the most hated group of people in the world. The most. Every country you go to, people hate their politicians. Every country you go to. It's not an American thing. It's a human thing. Go to Nigeria. Go to Italy. Go to New York. Go to America. Go to Spain. Go to France. Everywhere. People hate their politicians. All of them. Everyone thinks they're crooks. So if that's the arena you find yourself in, you better be ready for it. So those are my thoughts. So what I want to know from you guys is, what do you think about everything that I said? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro. Wishing you guys an amazing day and catch you guys on the next episode.